Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Excuse the head cold. I tried to record this last week, but this is still lingering on, so we're just gonna get on with it. A few weeks ago I went to my first silent retreat here in Queenstown. It was one day, 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the day, out in the Te Whenua Retreat out in Gibbston. I hadn't planned on recording anything out there, but throughout the day I just felt the need to capture each moment, and I've decided to share it with you. If you're new to my socials, welcome. I've taken a break for the last couple of months from my socials, but I generally talk about living with a chronic illness, managing stress management and overwhelm, and managing making changes throughout your life, and how to live a more mindful life in general. I'm a life coach, health coach, and a mindfulness facilitator. After 17 years working in accounts, I made the transition career-wise maybe 3 years ago. Balancing wellness with your day-to-day living can be quite challenging, so feel free to drop into this space for any sort of tips or inspiration. And if you've any questions, please leave them in the comments below. So this retreat was on, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago. Based here in Queenstown, New Zealand. We moved from Ireland to Queenstown maybe over 8 years ago now. People generally come to Queenstown because they're attracted to their adrenaline fix, so bungee jumping, snowboarding, downhill biking, but I personally loved this small town community and just the beautiful scenery outside. That and the weather, coming from Ireland where it rains most of the year, having 4 very distinct seasons was a treat. Definitely a drawing. So outside of this adrenaline junkie scene in Queenstown, there's actually a lovely wellness community here. So not just through alternative therapies, which are brilliant, but just the general population would have a much more value on wellness and life balance versus that rat race routine. This retreat came on at a great time. I've never been to one before. I originally was supposed to go to a workshop at this venue maybe a year ago, but I was sick on the day, so I couldn't go. So I had been following them on socials, on Instagram. So why did I go to this retreat? I've had a hectic few months, going back since March. I went full time with my wellness business. April, my clinical trial for my drug for my IBD treatment, the main drug I was on, was cancelled. We flew back to Ireland for the first time in 3 years to see family in June. Then came back and got COVID for the first time. That flared up my IBD, went on a course of steroids, and had a few big projects for work. But once all that was done, my body just came crashing down in August. So by September, I had surrendered my body. I minimised my schedule. I committed to my one-to-one clients and everything else. I wasn't taking on any big projects or plans for until I felt better. So by the time I came across this retreat, it was exactly what I was craving. So I'd created this little bubble for myself. I completely withdrew into it and I just allowed myself guilt-free healing. And by the time I saw this retreat come up, I was craving being outside, just being back amongst nature. We lost our little grass bit on our balcony when we moved houses last year. So just easy access to being outside was something I started to really crave after being in for a few weeks. And that and my complexion, I was like Casper the Ghost. So when I saw this retreat pop up, it was just a blessing in disguise. It was perfect timing. I hope I'm saying it right, but Te Whenua itself is this gorgeous dormer bungalow run by Jenny, owned and run by Jenny and her little dog. Jenny's background, she's a chef that's worked in different retreats before, and now she owns and runs this one herself. She has many different types of retreats. I think she even does cooking lessons retreats. To be honest, her house looks like something from my Pinterest board. Dormer bungalow, cherry blossom trees in the garden, beautiful garden, and even a little swing down the back hanging off the tree. It's a beautiful deck just outside the back door, a gorgeous open fire. There's a meditation yoga room upstairs. It was just ticking all my boxes. I've been practicing mindfulness for years, and I've been facilitating and helping others create their own practice for the last couple of years. So I'm very aware of the practices that I do and what I need to do, but this space this retreat allowed me to create a space where I was completely focused on that for a few hours, and I'm very grateful for it. My footage is a little bit wonky, it could be a bit shaky at times, it was just on my phone, so bear with me, but I hope you enjoy it. So the plan for the day was, there was max 6 of us booked in, and we all caught up at 9:45, had some home-brewed tea, had a little chat, and then Jenny explained the layout of the day. By 10 o'clock we were all in silence for the rest of the day, and then she had scheduled a guided meditation to kick us off if we wanted to. And this was the yoga/meditation room. We could all grab our own mats, bolsters, made ourselves comfortable. So this was me afterwards. I found with the meditation, I realised how wired my mind was and how tense my body was. So I found it hard to meditate. So I made it a priority once the guided meditation was over, just to take some time to stretch out my body first. I normally get built up tension in my neck and my shoulders and my upper back, and sometimes in and around my tummy. I've kind of dipped in and out of yoga over the years, but I find lately the best thing that works is very gentle movements. So yin yoga and restorative healing yoga, and just feeling my own way through it kind of helps more. I used to get quite overwhelmed in yoga classes when I used to have to follow someone else's guide on how to breathe and when to move. I just felt like my body was already so busy in my mind that it felt like too forced. I've slowly realised that just tuning into where my body's at and reading what it needs, stretches wise, rest wise, breath wise, suits me a lot better. Yeah, I love a good neck crack. So we had until we were being served food around 1 o'clock, I think. It was a plant-based lunch. We had no pressure to sit at the kitchen table, and obviously we weren't going to be talking to each other. So as much as I set my intention for the day to be outside as much as possible, I took the opportunity to journal and get any busy thoughts, thinking cycles, just down on paper, so then I could really try and switch off and tune into being outside. It's such a beautiful spot. I always found sitting with my thoughts overwhelming before, but I've really gotten a brilliant practice for the last couple of years with journaling. It's less about analysing my day or writing down every detail of my day. It's more checking in with how I'm feeling and how I'm thinking, and first and foremost just getting it out of my body and my head and getting it down on paper is quite useful. After that, if I want to observe it from a different perspective and kind of check in, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling or thinking the way I'm feeling, that's secondary if I want to do it. Still really unwinding at this point. It's funny, I don't realise how wound up I am sometimes until I try and be very still. I'm just soaking up that sunshine. And I found a lovely spot out the back. There was loads of places in around the house as well, lovely little nooks. There was a lovely lounge chair next to the window. There was an actual bay window seat, with large couches next to a fire, obviously the kitchen table. But I knew I just wanted to make the most of being outside. There was this gorgeous couch outside on the deck area, and I had to switch over to the swinging egg. And this is where I had my first nap of the day. I think I had 3 altogether. I literally rotated between napping, sitting in stillness and tuning into everything around me, and journaling anything that was lingering in my mind. Oh, I was making the most of that grass too. Took off my shoes and socks and just went hell for leather, soaking it all in. Excuse the thumbprint on the left, couldn't really see what I was doing. And that swing was calling me down the back of the garden. Something about shifting your weight, holding onto your weight and shifting it over to something else. Just realise how much you're carrying every day. I always try to stop and use a swing when I pass out, especially on road trips. There's something so playful about them. By the end of the day, my biggest takeaway was I just want to make being outside part of my routine more often. I work from home, so everything I do outside of work has to be planned into my day, whether that's movement, to seeing people, or just being outside. It's all something I have to plan in and around my work week. So we did stop for lunch halfway through the day. There was morning tea and snacks, but I missed that because I was caught up with my journaling upstairs. And there was a guided meditation and yoga class, I believe, in the afternoon, but I skipped it because I was just engrossed in being outside. I guess my biggest takeaways from being at the retreat was the value of setting a time to switch off from distractions and actually allocating time just to focus on being mindful and present. My phone with me obviously, but I had no intention of scrolling through it or responding to messages. It's interesting as well, I noticed what I was craving and my urges, so whether I was, actually food was a big one, because I guess I'm so used to just snacking around the house from working from home, but I found myself actually craving more organic whole foods, I think, from just being outside, which was interesting because it's something I tried to do here, but yeah, I just had this craving for fruits like strawberries. It was towards the afternoon. But yeah, my biggest takeaway was just trying to introduce more moments of being outside throughout my day and my week. Since then, I actually worked today outside. I've tried to make it as easy as possible with like minimum effort. So whether that's taking my lunch outside, I take my neighbour's dog out for a little walk or a pee break, or today I was out and about getting some jobs done and I took my laptop with me and I went to one of the lakes nearby, sat down on a bench, had my tea and my muffin, and got out my laptop and just wrote. Sometimes I find being at home, the creative juices stop flowing, so just breaking up those neural pathways with something new outside of my routine and just being outside really opened that up for me. So yeah, just there was some nice takeaways from the day. That, and obviously meeting everybody and hearing their stories. We had a nice mindful catch up at the end of it just to see how everyone got on. So yeah, you always meet some interesting characters It was very interesting actually. I suppose the idea of the silent part of the retreat is to stop expelling energy and start re-energizing yourself. So all those little things that we spend energy on in a day, especially when we're around people, even just the niceties of saying thank you for handing you someone something or holding a door open, those expectations were gone for the day, so didn't even have to make eye contact with anybody, so you were really kind of focused on recharging and filling up your own bucket rather than expelling it on other people. And then yeah, the final thing was probably I'd completely forgot about resting outside versus resting inside. There's something about being outside, I do find it when we go camping, it's just been a few months since we've done it, just being outside feels like you're like literally plugging in to something that's energizing you and taking, it's like to the way a tree works where it absorbs the carbon dioxide and then expels oxygen. Like that's what it feels like for me when I'm outside. It's like it's expelling all my negative energy and topping me up with all the good stuff. So yeah, I forgot about that. It's not really something that I get from being inside. So yeah, lots of good takeaways. Mindful eating, no distractions. I sat with my bowl of food outside and took it all in, the tastes, everything that was going on around me. It's very important for digestion. Like digestion starts the minute you look at your food and you crave it. The whole process starts in your mouth when you salivate, and every step is very important. So when we start guzzling food down and not paying attention to it, kind of miss out on that breakdown process. Mindful walking, I really enjoyed my barefoot walk around the grass. Again, I felt like I was expelling any negative energy in my body and rejuvenating myself. And yeah, just noticing, like I think when we're in go 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 mode, when we suddenly stop, we're very aware of parts of ourselves that are still accelerating. We might physically be stopped, but mentally we might be keep going, emotionally we might still be a bit wound up. So yeah, just noticing that wind down process and what helped, which was physically stretching my body and moving it, and the journaling, and then napping because it was exhausting. And just going from there and being able to observe what were the things that got my urges to get up and go, and some of it was food cravings, and other things were if I still felt a bit wound up, it felt a bit uncomfortable sitting still. So just observing that and just allowing it to settle down. That was probably my biggest takeaway. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. I have a few more videos lined up, so if you'd like to stay updated, you can hit the subscribe button. See you later.